Hey guys, I'm Gil Butler, the Primal Chef, coming to you today with another recipe from the biOptimizer's Primal Paleo Cookbook. Now, when I was a child, every single year for my birthday, I would have an ice cream cake. And one of my favorite combinations was always just chocolate cake, vanilla ice cream. But as I grew up and learned all of the bad ingredients that I was eating, it kind of ruined it for me. Full of gluten, full of sugar, low quality dairy, not great stuff. However, I'm gonna show you how to make a very simple, easy to make, keto, paleo, dairy-free, grain-free ice cream cake. And it's really easy to make, just like I was saying. So this is what you're gonna need. You need a chocolate cake. And now in the Primal Paleo Cookbook, we have a recipe for chocolate cake. So make that one. Then also in the Primal Paleo Cookbook, we have a recipe for vanilla ice cream that's keto dairy-free. When we combine them together, we have another element of ice cream cake. It's so good. So once your ice cream has been made, it's gonna come out and it's gonna be a little bit soft, which is actually the best texture for making ice cream cake. So when you have your chocolate cake, you obviously need to make sure that it is chilled completely. If you have hot cake, ice cream on top, it's just gonna melt and you're gonna have ice cream soup. So we have our chocolate cake. It's still in the spring release pan. We took it out just to trim the top. You don't even have to do that part, but you have to have it back in here. Now we're gonna take our ice cream and it's gonna go right back on top. And then with a spatula, you're just going to smooth it out, press it down, let it cover the entire cake. And then as it's spreading, you can also use an offset spatula, help on that. And this is an entire batch of the ice cream from the book. So you can just throw all of it in there. The more the better. Okay, so then push it down. Obviously, when you're working with ice cream, you're a little bit on a time crunch. If you spend too long at this, if your room is too warm, if you've got bright lights shining on it, it's gonna melt quick. So the goal is to get it all set before it is too late. And I know there's a lot of steps to this. As simple as it is, you gotta make your cake, you gotta make your ice cream, you gotta wait for your cake to cool, you gotta wait for your ice cream to freeze. Now, once we've done this step, it needs to go back into the freezer for a few hours so it's completely firm. We don't want it to be soft after it's already in there because when you slice into it, it's just gonna fall apart. So soft is good while forming it, but then we need to freeze it completely. After it's frozen, we're gonna come back and hit it with a chocolate ganache. It's gonna be drizzled on top, and then that's gonna harden, so it's gonna be like a little crunchy bit of chocolate on top. So good, so we'll get this in the freezer and then check back with you guys shortly. Okay, so our ice cream cake has been in the freezer for a couple hours, and really you want to give it as much time as you can. If you can make this a day in advance, put it in the freezer overnight, even better. Because when we first put the ice cream on here, we were basically working with soft serve, and for an ice cream cake, we want the ice cream to be fully solid. So even after a few hours, it still has a little give to it. It's not fully frozen. But the next step, we have our chocolate ganache. This is another recipe in the Primal Paleo Cookbook. You can learn how to do it. It's very easy. And we just want to take it, it's at room temperature now, and just drizzle across. And you can kind of just make a design with it. Not really a right or wrong way to do it. You can make some circles. And what's gonna happen, this ganache, as soon as it hits cold ice cream, it's gonna start to solidify. Then if you were to put it back in the freezer, it would solidify even more. So chocolate ganache, it's at room temperature, it's pliable like this, and then as it gets colder, it will solidify. So you can go for a design, or you can just go for, you're gonna want some of that taste, some of that hardened chocolate, a little bit of crunch on top of your cake. There you go. All right, so now, just for safety, we can put this back in the freezer for a few minutes just to fully encompass in the ganache and let it freeze, or you can try a slice. So see you back here in just a couple minutes and we will see how we did. All right, so we took off the outside of the spring release pan You can see some nice layers of the cake on the bottom. You know, I had to do this a little bit quicker, but leave this in the freezer overnight. It'll be so much easier to do. I'm gonna try to do a slice anyway. We'll see what happens. All right, so we have our ice cream cake. You can see beautiful layer. This is how an ice cream cake should look. It should be half cake, half ice cream. There's some ice cream cakes out there where they're all ice cream, no cake. I don't know what that is. That's not an ice cream cake. This is an ice cream cake. Let's try it out. That is so good. And again, this will be completely frozen when you freeze it overnight, both the cake and the ice cream. Makes it even better. But even just like this, so good. Brings me back to my childhood birthdays. You can find this recipe in the biOptimizer's Primal Paleo cookbook, along with many others. I'm Gil Butler, the Primal Chef. Find me online, theprimalchef.com, or Instagram, _Primal Chef. Look for this recipe, all the others in the biOptimizer's Primal Paleo cookbook.